Yo, what is going on, everybody? PGS official YouTube is up and running, and we are hitting the ground in a full sprint because we have a amazing deck profile with us today. This deck went 7-1 at OTS Championship. I have the creator with me, my boy Baby Dragon, aka Mark. Say hi to the people.
Yo, what's up?
All right, and he's gonna go over his whole deck profile. We're gonna ask questions, probe his childlike mind, and figure out what is happening. So take it away, Mark. Show us what's
So
happening.
starting off with matchups, round one was Tenyi Swordsoul, and we'll go into a little more detail as we come into card to card. Probably one of the harder ones of the deck, just because of how much they can just kind of flow and come back from nothing. Then it was a little less eventful coming to Mystic Mine. Just hit mine, just get rid of it and punch.
Right.
Round three was Drytron. We've been dealing with the deck for pretty close to a year now, maybe a little more, but it's still a viable deck. I don't care what anyone says about it. Dragon Link, the deck that never dies. Flunder, probably one of the decks I was more expecting because it's a lot cheaper than Swordsoul, and it's still really, really good. My one loss was to Heroes in Time. And then the last round was Virtual World. Everyone I 2-0'd except for the hero player. Just move the tokens and field center out of the way. So we're going to start off with the main deck. It is 41 cards in the main. I would probably cut it down to 40, but I just couldn't find a card to cut. So starting off, we have 3 Aruha. One of the main starters, it targets a card on your side, destroys it, and then it summons itself from the hand. It does lock you into Fiends, which can come up. Then you have the secondary effect, which kind of they all have, is a float in some sort of way. The extra deck will add you back a Fiend from grave, and the main decks will either summon themselves from the grave or summon another copy of an Unchained from the hand or the deck.
All right.
Kind of, it's the one you want to open because it can turn into anything. Then the other one is Rakea. We also play it at 3. You kind of need 3 of everything because they all float. And it's part of your grind game. So similar to Aruha, to target another card on the board to pop it. Only thing is this is a quick effect on the board itself.
And the other one is in hand, right? So
Yeah.
target effect activates in hand, and Rakea's on the field.
This activates in hand, and this summons itself from the hand. Literally, Rakea is just a quick effect. Target one on your side and destroy it, and it locks you into Fiends. So this is Rakea comes up with the OTK in which you have all 3 of the twins on board. The other one is Storm. We'll get into this later, but you'll summon all 3. You'll go battle, and you'll attack for 45. Rakea will summon one. Will pop one of them that you haven't used because all of their effects on once per turn. So you'll pop one. You'll summon the big one from the deck. You'll pop it. You'll pop the other one that you haven't used, and summon another 1500 beater, and that gets you your last.
Yep, your
yeah.
It's
like it pushes you over just enough. These are the oldest ones. The ones we've been dealing. You play for the longest time. So these are pretty simple. They all float. They just can't float into to themselves. Right. That can be destroyed by battle or card effect, which can come up. Then we play 3 Sarima, arguably the best and the worst one out of the 3 because it needs grave setup to play, but like turn 3, normalling this, that basic with anything in grave basically gets you an OTK. So it will target an Unchained card in the grave, keep its card. So when we get to one of the monsters in a few seconds, you'll see why it's important that it says card. Set it, and then pop 1 card on your side of the field. So card to compare to is like Scrap Wyvern. It's very similar, only it pops only on your side, which doesn't really hurt this deck because you just,
you plus off the pop.
You float, right. And they're all different attributes as well. They're all Fiends, but the Sarima's Dark, Aruha's Fire, and Rakea is Water. So it does help against certain floodgates. That's it for the small ones. their level does come up when we get to the extra deck as well. So moving on to the big ones, the souls. We have 2 a bomb. Really good to open. You only need 2. I've played this card at 3, and it just clunks too much. I'd rather play more traps and more just combo pieces and consistency cards, because this puts itself back in deck, and you have ways of summoning it from grave and getting it from grave to hand. So you can, if you know what you're doing, you only need 2. Theoretically, you actually only need 1, but we play the second one because you do want to search it a lot of times, because it does chain block. When something's destroyed, you summon it from your hand. Then on summon, it's a non-targeting pop, so it can out very funny cards and just come up in really nice situations. It's a level 8, which if you've seen any other deck profile, you'll see why. That's like kind of nice. And it summons itself from grave in the end phase, similar to Skarm, but instead of searching, it just summons itself and puts it to the bottom of the deck when it leaves.
Before we move on to the next piece, would you say that if a beginner were to pick up this deck, would they want to play 3 a bomb just to see how the card functions, or would you still stay playing 2, even at the beginner levels?
Even at the beginner levels, I would recommend playing 2. But when you do come into, if you think you need a third, I wouldn't worry about like hurting your consistency too much, because it really doesn't. It's an Unchained name at the end of the day. The only thing is, it can clunk.
Yeah.
It can clunk. Like if you open 2, like it really does hurt. And at worst, you just discard an extra copy of it if you do that. But I'd still just say play 2. If you want to test out 3 yourself, if you like that better, by all means. But I just like I like the 2.
All right, let's go.
The card all Unchained players hate. Unchained Soul of Disaster. It's the one we always open. You can play this at 3, 0, and you'll still open one of it. But in all seriousness, you only play this at 1. The only situation where I can see an argument for playing 2 is Desires, because you do need this. Like, it's mandatory, because it's got an attack gain that doesn't really come up. It's 300 for every Unchained card in your grave. It can be funny, but it really just doesn't come up. But its main effects are it links off with your opponent's face-up monsters during your turn. And when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you special and Unchained from your grave. So as I was saying, that's how you can get this out without using its effect. You can go like Sarma, set this, pop it, bring back like one of your links or one of the combo pieces or something that got like an imperm or something and got negated. So that's it for the Unchained names.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So 15 in the main. All you need. The Spice, Lord of the Heavenly Prison. 3.
Shit.
So,
this is a new card, right?
New card came out in Burst of Destiny. If you have like $60 to spend on a playset of these, I highly recommend doing it. I was lucky and I picked these up for 15s a piece. But if you, in all honesty, not even just Unchained players, if you have any interest in playing a trap deck, a control deck, or anything like that, pick these up, because they will go up and you will need them. It protects from getting destroyed when you reveal it. It's a 3k body that summons itself from the hand on your opponent's turn. It's just all around good. It sets you stuff from back row. So like if you were to open like a Solemn Strike and no combo, but you open this, you can like set Strike, reveal this in hand. Now when you activate Strike, you summon this from your hand, like a multi-faker almost, and then you can set any other trap from your deck. So if you're playing against like Drytron or something, you can set like an Ice Dragon's Prison. Or if you're playing against like a Prank Kid player, you can set literally any card in your deck.
Set any trap card.
Any trap card and you win. Like Torrential Tribute. You activate Torrential, they lose.
Oh, so the set card can be activated at the same turn?
No, it cannot be activated this turn.
Oh, okay. So
but a lot of people forget that and they don't ask. So it's very good to just say, okay, set it. Its effect on fields can't be activated. So if you set an Unchained back row and you have like a Twin Twister or something, you could pop that and then
you
play
get
off
the graveyard
that
effect, yep.
And get it in the graveyard and still continue to play. So now we're going to go to hand traps. I opted to only play 6 this tournament because the meta really doesn't call for like 15 hand traps or 12 hand traps. This deck can run them. A hand trap that I was running in this deck for a while was Dimensional Shifter. I do not like that anymore. I prefer the Sky Prison because I think it just adds a little bit more to your deck specifically. It also makes it so you can Sarm a turn 3 without having to worry about how you're getting something engraved on your turn.
All right.
So hand traps, I chose to play triple Lancia.
Interesting.
In the main deck, Lancia in the main deck because it helps against Flunder. This is actually how I won my Swordsoul matchup because game 1 I opened this and then the other hand trap was Imperm.
So you're playing okay.
So these are the only hand traps I'm playing because they're the most impactful right now. I also don't own Nibiru's. If I own them, I'd consider playing them at least in the side deck. But I am liking this. Flunder, the Imperm is obvious. Flunder, just random decks that's good against. It's a Veiler basically that doesn't trigger talents. But Lancia is for Swordsoul because normal Swordsoul I don't care about. The deck doesn't do anything because all of my effects are in hand. So the Swordsoul Synchro does nothing because that's an effect Veiler. Can't stop Aroha, can't stop my trap. Barone, I can just normal summon this and bait it out because I can float in the damage step so they can't ash me. The Tenyi package is what really hurts because having them be able to do nothing and get a Synchro on the board or get a Link 2 or start playing off of that without a normal summon, right. I can't let them do. And then in game 2, he sided in triple cross out Lancia so he could cross out my Lancia. I sided these out for a card you'll see in the side deck.
Right.
But
let's get to that. Let's continue.
Yeah. Lancia is a very good card. So 3 Abominations Prison. It's pretty standard.
Explanatory.
It's literally Rhoda for any card with Unchained in the name.
Yeah, it's good.
And then when it's set and you destroy and it's destroyed by either player, you summon from deck.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Self-explanatory.
It's the most expensive card of the deck. It's the most expensive Unchained card.
All right.
Keep in mind you can't set that off of Sarama because it's Abominations Prison. The only other spell we play, Pot of Extravagance. Your extra deck in this deck really doesn't matter. You're not really digging for a card. You're more so digging for a number of cards because you are a trap deck. You can draw 2-3 trap. You can draw 2 traps, set those, and play off that for a turn and be perfectly fine. You just need to see Unchained names, no matter what they are. Moving on to the traps, triple Solemn Strike. It's really
self-explanatory.
It's a trap deck. To go with Strike, 3 Torrential Tribute.
3 Torrential. Yum.
Yes. You plus off of your stuff being destroyed. You can set this, not even use it on your opponent's turn. Go like normal and Unchained, and Torrential on your turn. Bait another interruption off of that. If they don't, you just get this and you just start plussing by clearing their board. Right. It's free. The only other generic trap that I play is I played 2 Ice Dragon's Prison.
Oh, 2 IDP.
I'm not a fan of 3 of this card anymore because of Flunder banishing and not keeping stuff engraved. And because of you being locked into Fiends, I've noticed a lot of the time, if you Rakea on your turn, on your opponent's turn, you really can't play this card.
Right.
Unless you're playing a Fiend deck.
Yeah.
You lock yourself out. You could play around that because it's for the rest of the turn. Like, you don't really care. But
and you could chain link it, right? So you could like Rakea chain link 1, IDP chain link 2, and then resolve it that way.
Yeah, but then you'd have to, then that just wastes too much. Like, I'd rather save my Rakea. Like, one of the things I love doing with Rakea is ending on it when I play against Shadal. I go Rakea, pop my Link in response to their Shadell fusion. I'm not negating it, so it works under Meltdown, and it just allows me to play in plus without making them go really minus.
Yeah.
Last 6 traps are the Unchained traps. 3 escape of the Unchained.
Yeah.
You know what Swordsoul Blackout is? This is basically a baby version of this. Of that, it pops an Unchained on your side, and then any card, face up, face down, don't matter. Monster spell, trap, don't matter.
Right. It's just pop
on
two.
their side.
Pop 2.
Yeah, pop 2. It's so much more though, because you pop you can go normal set. If you're afraid of getting hand trapped, and then just play off that, and it's completely free. 3 chamber, it's Monster Reborn that summons from hand. They also flip.
It's non-ashable.
It's not ashable. The first effect is not ashable because it's summoned from hand or grave.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to the extra deck, obviously 15, but 3 Unchained Soul of Rage. This is the main one you're ending on. This is a mandatory 3 of extra, no extra. You need this card so much. This is the quick effect to link off on your opponent's turn. Specifically during the main phase, similar to IP. The babied version is Anguish. It's the Link 3. It's during your turn, but it's any monster, so they can normal summon, then you can link it off. The last Unchained Link is 2 of the Link 4 Unchained Abomination. I don't really make this anymore. I still play it because it does come up. But I'm finding a lot of the time, the only time you're really making this is against a trap deck. And this deck doesn't have a bad matchup against trap decks because of how many cards you can just pop out of nowhere. Right. With your traps and a bomb and just generically.
Yeah, you can just pop all the traps before they get to
You can just pop all their back row in their end phase. They can't chain anything. And you're like, all right, if it's Eldritch, this deck already shits on it because, Conquistador pop, okay, effect.
Right.
2 Nightmare Unicorn. It's a fiend.
It's a fiend.
Dark, Link 3. One of the main things you make off Rage. 2 is mandatory. If you really even wanted to, you could play 3. That's personal preference. I think 2 is better. The next 2 cards are the Topologic package. I play 1 Boral Code. If you don't want to play this, because I am thinking about cutting it, Bomber Dragon. Bomber Dragon. I honestly, cool. I'll tell you what I would play for Access Code if I ever had it, and if I do have it, what I'd cut for it. But I'm really not even missing it. There are a few situations where I'd like the big body, but your entire extra deck's dark. It doesn't matter. 1 Zeraboros. This has been in there. This will never leave.
Zeraboros, big boy.
Summoning Zeraboros is something people don't expect, and it's really, really good. Last 3 cards are Xyz. 1 Dingirsu.
Yeah.
For your level 8s. This is one of your outs to Dragoon. The other is IDP. And Zeraboros. And also the Boral Code. Here's where I would play. You play double Access Code in this deck. You need 2 because of Extravagance. But instead of that, I'm playing 1 Acid Golem of Destruction and 1 Zeus.
Oh my god.
One of this deck's biggest weaknesses is Zeus, and I was always taught, if you can't beat him, join him. You have Acid Golem plus Dingirsu to make it, and you don't need Zeus to win. You don't need any of these 3 cards. They're kind of just flex. They're just flex slots.
So how often did that come up? Making Acid Golem. How often did it come up? From your tournament experience.
The only time I made Zeus, I made it against Drytron. It won me the game. And the time I made it against Dragon Link, I made this because I needed to, because this is a 3K body.
Right.
So I ended up making this early because I needed a way to beat over to threaten the seals.
Right.
So they bounce something. So I summoned this and okay, I'm threatened by this. Why? No clue. So they bounced this. And then I said, okay, you have no more options because I already played through the Tidy, and I already played through it was an Ash. So I went summon Ningirsu. I sent their Levianeer. I poked their Ek, and then I just said slap. So ironically, the one time I actually summoned Zeus wasn't off of Acid Golem that entire day.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So moving on to the side deck, this is always personal preferences of my view on it. This is just what I chose to play for my playstyle.
It's upside down.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry about that. One Pankratops. One Pankratops. It's good. It's at 1. Why not? Probably the only card I'd change out of my side deck would be the 2 Jizakirus.
You gotta play Godarlas, man.
Yes,
Flunder
they should be
these
Godarlas. The Godarlas I own are not tournament play condition, so they're not legal. They're like really damaged. So any kaiju would suffice. The 2 best ones for this deck are Godarla and the Dark One Radiant, because it's a fiend. So you can recycle it off of your rage. You can recycle it off of rage. You could also summon it if you were to like Rikea or something.
We love recycling kaiju.
We do love
it. We love it.
The other monster we play is I sided 3 Ash Blossom.
Ah, there's the Ash Blossom. Infamous.
So the reason behind this is it's good against a few decks, but think about it in terms of the meta. Swordsoul, they're not losing to an Ash. Mine, they're not now. Drytron, they'll eat an Ash for breakfast. Dragon Link doesn't lose to it. Flunder chain blocks. You know, heroes, okay, there's somewhat hit the hero lives or the normal summon or the increase or it hits. And Virtual World, the Virtual World plays through it. It does hurt them, but like no deck loses to it and just doesn't do enough. Like Lancey and Imperm, a lot of the times will shut down a turn. You Imperm a Moyi against Swordsoul, a lot of the times there's like setting 1, making Monk, and passing.
How do you feel about Droll and Lockbird?
I'm iffy with it right now because Drytron isn't as popular. So I if I had them, I'd play them again. One of the cards I don't own, but I'm really not missing it per se. Like the deck works without it. I don't miss it. It didn't come up for me. The one I'd honestly play Cycle Reader over Droll because the only deck that I'm siding Droll into is Drytron.
And then Cycle Reader hits it just as bad.
And Cycle Reader hits it most of the time even more.
Right.
Triple Cosmic Cyclone.
Hey! The old primal rule. If you have room for Cosmic, play it.
Yeah. You need it. You need... And what I basically run by is, in any deck I play, 6 ways of getting rid of back row in the main and the side. So 3 Cosmic, 3 Escape are your 6, and that ratio has always worked for me. I've never had an issue with it. I also play Cosmic over Twin Twister because though Twin can hit your own stuff if you desperately need it, Cosmic against Eldritch and Cosmic against Virtual World is a lot of the times just better.
Right.
It's also better against Striker with you can just chain it to the engage and field spell decks. So 3 Forbidden Chalice.
Budget.
The reason Imperm's already in the main deck.
I know, but you're playing.
This is budget droplet. This is budget droplet.
Budget droplets now. Okay.
Because this can be used in the damage step. So this is a lot because your boss monster, your Link 2, is 1800. So a lot of times this happened in my hero matchup. He went normal Stratos, no effect, and went punch. I go okay, and I flip this.
Then he's screwed. Yeah.
And he didn't expect it because he didn't have a monster on board, so he couldn't do anything. And the worst case scenario, this is just a budget. This is, again, an Imperm, a Veiler, a Droplet. It gets rid of a problem. It baits in a game. You activate this, and they're forced to respond, otherwise they lose something. That's what the card is meant to do.
Right.
I want every card I'm putting in, every single card in the side deck, other than Ash and a Kaiju, base and negate. It's a 1-for-1 or 1-for-2 interaction with my opponent. The last 3 cards are Dimensional Barrier. This is what goes in against Drytron. This is what goes in against Swordsoul. Because when I took out my Lancias, because I knew he was...
What do you call against Drytron?
Ritual.
Oh, that's right. You can call Ritual. I forgot.
You call it Ritual.
Yeah.
This is also good
I
because
forgot. Just so much I play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, you call like Z's against some decks because some decks making a Zoo's like playing in Zoo, which there was 2 Zoo players in the tournament.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No summon Thoroughblade.
Yeah, I dodged both of them. You wait for them to normal summon. You just go, okay, summon, effect. Excuse. You can't play the game. It's really good. It's trainable. It's always at least a 1-for-1. It baits a negate, baits a card out of their hand. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Some choices I want to talk about. I didn't see Harpy's Feather Duster or Twin Twister, which I would feel are very good in your deck specifically. Why not play them?
For one, Harpy's Feather Duster, I looked into it. It's a 1-of.
Right.
So it's a 1-of that's good against some decks that need to open. I'd rather play 3-ofs of things that are good generically. Like the same decks I'm siding, I'm putting in a Feather Duster to, I'm putting in Cosmic Cyclone to. I already have Escape, which basically is better than a Duster because it's loopable. Pop an Unchained with Escape, pop a card on their side, summon a Sarama, do the same thing next turn.
Right.
You recycle it, you don't have a problem playing for the back row. And then the Twin Twisters, you're a trap deck, you're really only ending on maybe 2 cards in hand. One of those you want to keep for Unicorn discard. And the other card in hand is oftentimes Heavenly Prison.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
And you want to keep that card revealed as long as physically possible because you can't get Lightning Storm, you can't get... And as much as you want to float, if you float too fast and your opponent can control their resources, they can outgrind you.
Right.
Normally this deck is very grindy, but you need to know what you're doing, and you need to know when you can push, when you can't.
Right.
Because it's not meta.
Right. One last thing I want to talk about, because budget is like a very strong thing in your deck specifically, because you don't have the best budget in the world, which is okay. We like that. We like talking about that stuff here. But let's say if you had all the money in the world, you won the lotto tomorrow, what would be the maximized like high-end budget cards that you would put in here that you think would excel the deck further? Or do you think you don't really need the high budget cards? You did just as well without them, since you did do really well without them.
I've played the deck since I've played Unchained. If you know me at all, I've played Unchained since the deck came out, and I've played it a lot. So I really don't. The only real cards I'm missing would be Access Code, which is Bomber Dragon. I have one lying around here somewhere. I just need to find it. I also was too lazy to test with it. I consider playing the Phoenix Enforcer package. In a blind second variant. You play the Kaijus in the main, the Evenleys in the main, the Dark Rulers, and the Phoenix Enforcers.
Okay. So overall, you don't think you're a high-end
in
budget
this variant, not really.
Deck so far.
This deck's probably around $150.
And that's cheap for Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's pretty cheap.
That's fucking cheap, all right?
Yeah. The expensive cards are like
20. Well, the pots are 30s.
Pots are 30s. Pots are 30s, and if you saw this is secret, this is about 15-20 a copy.
Yeah.
These are
so all around, everything's priced. The highest priced card is anywhere from $20 to $30.
Yeah, pretty much all of the cards are really really cheap. Zeus is $10.
Yeah, the ultras are cheap.
Yeah, this is oddly really expensive right now.
Is it?
it's $10 because it's a promo.
Oh, that's funny.
But if you don't want to play the Acid Golem, any rank 3 will do.
I'm about
The
to say,
one
did
I
you
would
ever think about playing like Levier or something to like
not
play
really because
around with like
you're
D
really not
shifter or anything?
banishing. The rank 3 I was previously testing was I was testing 2 different rank 3s because this was before I got my hands on a Zeus. So the 2 rank 3s I was testing Fortune Tune because it's life point gaining and it's just sometimes it's nice just being able to swing under something without having to worry about that. That though it doesn't really come up because you can normally clear a board pretty easily. I was also testing Dante.
Dante.
For a while, they're all fiends, so I was playing fiend reliefing in it, and I was playing a small BA package. So I was playing this.
Oh
I also
wow,
had a Beatrice in there.
that's silly.
It,
I
it,
dig it.
it was interesting. Did it work? Barely.
Barely, but you
It
know
was
that's really fun to see, man.
yeah. It was interesting. It helped at times, and it was kind of funny because it was very unexpected. No one thought, oh, I'm playing against Unchained. I have to fear like Beatrice. So
Right. It was just
yeah.
something that made your phone go, "What the fuck." All right, but with that being said, this deck profile is wrapping up right here. Don't forget to check out our socials on the top, our YouTube channel, which are watching this right now. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook page. There'll be a Discord link in the description if you guys want to play in our tournaments, join our servers, and just have fun with us when we go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know exactly where to find us. This video probably going up around November 25th. A day before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving. So it'll be a fun first premiere video for our YouTube channel. Thank you, Mark, for letting me be the one to showcase your deck profile. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully everyone else does love it because I do think Unchained is an unsung like a rogue hero.
It really
That
is.
goes very unsung, but the deck is great. The theme is great. The gimmick is great. And it's an archetype I personally do very much enjoy. But with that being said, thank you everyone for watching, and we are out of here.